Hey guys, today's the day we're finally going to review the P226-X Legion. I have finally exceeded 1,500 rounds. To be exact, I have 1,520 rounds on this so far. And I will say, I originally thought maybe I was going to do a 1,000 round review, but I love shooting this gun so much, I ended up shooting it too quickly, and I wanted to really take my time, do a few different things with it, test it out in different ways, push my own skills and lack thereof, and really be able to give you guys the most honest and real feedback I possibly can about this gun. So yeah, let's get into it. Full disclaimer, if you guys have not seen my other videos, I purchased this gun on my own. Sig did not send me this gun. So everything I'm going to tell you is from a buyer standpoint, not just another talking head on YouTube who gets guns sent to them. Hopefully one day I'm that cool and get some guns sent to me, and then I will still give you honest and real feedback. But until then, still buying guns on my own. Very pleased with this purchase. Honestly, I would argue this could potentially be one of the best guns that came out in 2025. Obviously, there's a lot that haven't shot, but that's just my opinion. So I'm going to try to break this down into the similar categories that I did for my CZ Shadow 2 carry 1,000 round review. That way we see all the same talking points and you can kind of compare apples for apples if you're looking for a new gun this year. Number one, let's talk about reliability. I will say I'm astounded in all 1,500 rounds. This thing has had zero issues, which is crazy in my opinion, considering all the different types of ammo, the different grain weights, everything I threw through this thing just eats. It's kind of crazy to me how reliable this has been, considering I had certain issues with the CZ Shadow, so I purposely got that ammo, ran it through here, and no hiccups whatsoever. This has been 100% reliable, even with personal defense rounds. It's just been incredible. So that, I gotta say, so far, so good. I will continue to shoot this. I actually started carrying this about halfway through this review. So I did do one cleaning. I did a second cleaning prior to filming this, but just so you guys know, I did not shoot 1,500 rounds without cleaning it. It was cleaned one time solely so that I had that peace of mind in carrying it, that knowing it's going to function no matter what. And I will say, in regards to cleaning, super easy breakdown, very easy to clean. And I will say, this color with the Cerakote here, this thing doesn't ever look dirty. Like, at no point did I see this and be like, wow, I really should clean that, because it's either this color or the way this shoots. But aside from the X300, which obviously gets covered, the gun itself never looked dirty or like it needed to be cleaned. Obviously, when I tore it down, tons of crap came out of it. But from the exterior, it always stayed looking good and looking clean. Unlike the CZ Shadow, if you guys saw my other video, after 1,000 rounds, that thing looked disgusting. Now, I'll stop talking about the CZ Shadow for the rest of this video because I want to do a comparison video of the two coming up in the near future. I think there's a lot of similarities. I think a lot of you will appreciate hearing about those two. Next, we're going to talk about accuracy. I will say this gun is absolutely more accurate than I am as a shooter. I only had to zero this one time, and since then, it's been amazing. Literally, this thing has been shot through paper where multiple rounds would go through the exact same hole, which I've seen in YouTube videos before, and I've never got to experience that in person. To me, that is pretty damn accurate, so I can't say that this has not impressed me, and I'd argue maybe possibly made me a better shooter using it. Now, unfortunately for my testing, I did not get to exceed 25 yards. I would love to take this and shoot distance with it, because I think of all my handguns, this is probably the one I would want to shoot distance with, just to see what I can do. I would not doubt that this thing could do, 100, 150 yards, no issues. And should I get the chance, I'm absolutely going to do that with this, and I will keep you guys updated. Next, I want to talk about the recoil impulse. To be honest, this thing's not very snappy. It has very minimal jump. I'm kind of surprised. Like, in the videos I've taken, it doesn't even look like this thing moves. It does when you're looking down sight, and it has a very slight rise to it, but I mean extremely minimal. I'm really impressed given the weight of this. I'm sure that helps a lot. Having a longer slide and barrel also helps, but this has to be the most flat shooting gun that I own at this time. Obviously, I don't have any 2011s yet. I would argue that this would probably compare to a lot of those, and I would definitely want to get one in the future so I could actually compare the two. But as of right now, I will say this is the most flat shooting gun I have, and it's such a pleasure to shoot. So let's talk about the weight of this gun. Obviously, this not being polymer, it is going to be heavier. I personally don't think it's heavy to carry. I've not had an issue with that. I know that's something that people will argue. If you're used to carrying a smaller polymer gun, you might think this is heavy. I think it's got a nice weight to it. As far as is it balanced, I think it does lean towards the front a little bit. That may be because I've literally had this X300 on it from day one. I use this for going into the holster, both in my bag and on my belt. So maybe without that light on there, it might be more well balanced. But for me, the weight doesn't bother me. If anything, I say the weight of this makes it a more pleasant shooting gun, and absolutely has not been an issue whatsoever. Now, I will say we got to talk about the one thing that makes this gun exceptional, and that is that trigger. This trigger, I remember in my very first video when I unboxed this thing and my first impressions, the first time I took it out the range, I really thought, wow, that trigger might be too light. I'm going to change my opinion on that now that I've shot it more, because I thought it might be a trigger that might be too light for new shooters. I think you pick up on it pretty quick shooting this. I don't think that will actually be an issue for people. If anything, having a trigger this light will help you be more accurate, that I've noticed. I've let a few friends try this gun at this point, and they've picked this up so fast. I was worried that because it was so light, maybe they'd have an AD. None of that has happened. That trigger has been exceptional. It's a very, very short take up, super crisp break, and the reset's super short. This is hands down probably one of the best triggers I've ever shot, and I've shot in 2011s before. I would say this is on par with that. Obviously, I'm sure there's going to be people out there who in the comments tell me that XYZ is a better trigger. I'm sure there's better triggers, but for the money, this trigger is great. I have no problems with it. I absolutely love shooting this gun. I love that trigger. I think that trigger is a huge factor that makes this what it is. Now we'll talk about the grips here. I will say the length of it fits my hand perfectly. I wear a size large in mechanics gloves. This fits my hands so well. I get a nice support hand on there. Got the gas pedal right there, or the breakdown that can be used as a gas pedal. And the grips are phenomenal. I debated at first because I was just using lock grips previous to getting this gun, possibly getting those for this. But even when I do longer range sessions where I do over 300 rounds in this, I've had no issues at all. So I was surprised. I did watch a few other videos of people reviewing this, and they commented that they thought they'd replace the grips. I'm going to argue the opposite. I really don't think it needs it. I think this grip it's plenty of texture. It really has a nice, good bite. And aesthetically, I think it fits the gun so nicely. So for me, these grips work great. They are a bit thicker than what I have with my lock grips on my other pistol. But I would not say they are thicker in a bad way. They feel my hands great, and I love the way it came out. It is worth noting, because I've noticed in a few other videos that people were bringing this up, and I'm sure people are going to wonder this. So as far as the slide release here, one thing that makes this different when they change these grips is they actually lifted the slide release a little bit. Now, I have not had any issues. I think it works great. Apparently, the last generation Legion, that was a little bit too tight to the grips and people were having issues, and they fixed it in this. I can say it's been phenomenal. So the grips, the mag release, everything going on in here works so well on this gun. Again, no complaints, honestly. It's really been great. Next, I do want to talk about mags. I intentionally shot the same 2 magazines for all the ammunition. So I really wanted to see, was there going to be any sort of extended wear doing that much through a short period of time? And I think they held up pretty good. You'll see there's very minor marks. The magazines are made by Mekar, which I love their, I don't know if it's their, whatever they use to make it slick. It feeds exceptionally well. They fit the gun well. Loading them is wonderful. They've been a very good addition to this gun. I was surprised to see that they weren't made by Sig, and they are 18 round magazines. So it's nice you do get 3 of those in there. So if we're talking value, which we'll go into a little bit, I do want to mention you do get 3, which is pretty cool because some pistols these days come with 1 or 2. I think it's pretty lame. Coming with 3 right out of the box is awesome. I also want to mention, when I did break this down to do the cleaning yesterday, that very minimal wear. I wish I would have actually taken some footage in there. Didn't think about it until after, but very, very, almost no wear noticeable inside the gun. So everything is working well. Nothing's concerning to me as far as that after this many rounds. Overall, the gun has just been a dream to shoot, to handle, everything. I do think it's also worth mentioning that I remember in my first video, I did not know about how to go about getting the bag and the coin, but one of my followers was nice enough to tell me all I had to do was register this with Sig, and they immediately, I mean literally like within days, sent me this bag. This bag is such a nice quality. It comes in addition to the case you already get, and you get your Legion coin. No charge, no paying for shipping. It is a phenomenal additional value to this pistol. Now, you will notice I keep mentioning value, right? Because I think it's really worth noting for how incredible this firearm is. It's extremely reasonably priced, in my opinion. Obviously, you can get into 2011s that start double the price of this. And this would be double the price of like your standard Glock MOS. So it's not cheap, it's not a budget gun, but I think for the price that it is, you get a tremendous firearm. I can't preach about that enough. This is definitely one of my favorite purchases in firearms so far. As I love shooting this so much, it makes me want to go to the range more. It doesn't seem like work. It doesn't seem like a chore I have to do to stay proficient. I actually go out of my way to find different ways. How can I challenge myself? Granted, listen, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I work a full-time job. I don't come from a background with guns. I only got into guns 5 years ago. So obviously what I know is all self-taught. And I do appreciate you guys give me a lot of tips in the comments. I do appreciate that. And I take it seriously. I add those tips into my next session. And I try to keep adding to it as I go. It's only going to make me a better shooter. But I will say this gun has been so phenomenal and so fun to shoot. It makes me want to keep pushing myself and challenging myself that much more at the range. And that in itself is almost priceless. Too often, guns, they're not enjoyable to shoot or they're so snappy, or they're just a headache and it's a chore. And then people stop going to the range and they don't want to carry it. And that's really it's against the whole purpose of having it in the first place. Why are you going to have it if you're not going to shoot it, carry it, and use it if you need it, right? So I will say in that aspect alone, this gun is simply priceless to me. Now, I want to answer the question that people were wondering, like, what is the good use for this? I will say carrying this could be too big and too heavy for some people. And obviously, depending on the size of your hands, this might just be too much gun. This is definitely a full size, obviously not a full 5-inch, but it's pretty dang close. So I could see this being too much for some people. So carrying, that could be questionable depending on the user. But where I see this truly shining, a home defense gun like this, right by the bed on the nightstand, perfect. That's why I keep an X300. This at the range, incredible teaching tool, incredible weapon to actually go and hone your skills and get better as a shooter. I think this would be great for someone who wants to open carry. Granted, you can find a holster that has the right retention. Obviously, if you guys seen my short, I tried getting a level 2. I did not. I'm sure at some point Safariland will have one. I'll probably get that for it because now in Florida you can open carry, and that's something I think this would be a great carry gun for that. Yeah. I cannot say enough good things about this, guys, and I really try to make sure my reviews are well balanced. I always tell you guys if I have any sort of issues with any firearms, the specifics of what caused it, what could have caused it. And I know this is going to sound like all fluff in this review, but honestly, this gun's it's been so great. I've had nothing negative to say about this. I think it's well priced. I think it's well built. I think it looks beautiful. Like when I first got this, I thought this was going to be just something going to my collection. I did not really anticipate the one to carry this, but after shooting it and feeling so comfortable and confident with this gun, I felt obligated to carry it, or at least add it into my carry rotation, I should say, because I do carry a few different guns now. But if you guys are in the market for one of these, I guarantee you won't be disappointed. If you are, I'd be really surprised, and I'd love to hear about it and why. But I don't see anyone buying this gun and not absolutely loving it. In fact, in my previous videos, most of the comments from guys who used to have a 226 and got rid of it regretted it. Not that I would ever get rid of a gun. I think there's always room to have more guns. But it's definitely one to get and keep. So if there's anything I may have missed or you guys want to know about this specifically, please ask in the comments below. I promise I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do my best to give you as much information in real time. If you guys think there's some sort of ammunition I should try to see if I can choke this thing up or find a failure, let me know. I'm really open to pushing this thing through anything to see just how much it can take. I absolutely plan on shooting this more. This will be carried often by me, and I will definitely do updated videos as well as comparison videos of this. So I hope that answers all your questions. If not, ask me in the comments below and I will get back to you. Thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot. I appreciate you guys' support. Take it easy.